Your neighborhood could lose power for 7 days straight, starting in 72 hours. Right now, meteorologists are staring at their screens in disbelief. What they are seeing is something they have not witnessed in over a decade. A winter storm so massive, so perfectly positioned, that it is about to shut down half of America. And here is what nobody is telling you yet. The models just shifted north. That means millions of people who thought they were safe are now directly in the crosshairs. We are talking about ice accumulation over 1 inch thick, power lines snapping like toothpicks, interstates turned into frozen parking lots, and temperatures so cold that even after the storm passes, you might not see above freezing for an entire week. Stay with me because in the next 30 seconds, I am going to reveal which cities are about to get blindsided by this dramatic northward shift. And if you live anywhere from Texas to Boston, you need to hear this right now. The European model just confirmed it this morning. The storm has shifted 150 miles north from yesterday's prediction. 150 miles. Do you understand what that means? Cities that were planning for rain are now staring down the barrel of a catastrophic ice storm. Places that expected light snow are now looking at 18 inches. Dallas, you are not out of the woods. Not even close. If the temperature drops just 1 degree colder than forecast, you are getting slammed with destructive freezing rain. Your power grid is already vulnerable. 1 inch of ice on those lines, we are talking about widespread, extended outages. But here is the part that should terrify you. This is not just about one bad day. The Arctic air mass behind this storm has staying power. We are not talking about a quick freeze and thaw. We are talking about a sustained deep freeze that could last 7 to 10 days in some areas. Comment below right now and tell me where you are watching from, because I am going to give you specific forecasts for your exact location throughout this video. And trust me, you need to know what is headed your way. Let me paint you the picture of what is actually happening in the atmosphere right now. There is a massive high-pressure system dropping out of Canada. Think of it like a bulldozer made of Arctic air pushing south with relentless force. This thing is literally dragging the North Pole down into the United States. Meanwhile, warm, moist air is streaming up from the Gulf of Mexico. Now, normally, these two air masses would just create a clean dividing line. Cold air wins, you get snow. Warm air wins, you get rain. Simple, right? But this storm is diabolical. Here is why. The cold air is shallow. It is hugging the ground, maybe only 1,000 to 1,500 feet deep. But above that shallow layer, there is warm air from the Gulf. Picture this. Raindrops form in the clouds where it is warm. They fall through that warm air, staying liquid. Then, in the last second before they hit the ground, they pass through that thin layer of 25-degree air. Not cold enough for long enough to freeze into sleet. They hit the ground as liquid water. And then instantly, they freeze on contact. That is called freezing rain. And when you get hours and hours of freezing rain, you get ice accumulation. We are not talking about a light glaze. We are talking about 1-inch thick coatings of solid ice on everything. Every tree branch, every power line, every road surface. Do you know what happens when a 1/4 inch of ice builds up on a power line? It can triple the weight. But we are forecasting 1 inch in some spots. That is catastrophic. Lines will snap, transformers will explode, and utility crews will not be able to get to you because the roads will be impassable. Saturday, January 24th. Mark that date. That is when the worst of this hits. And I need you to understand something. If you live in the highlighted impact zones I am about to show you, you should not plan on going anywhere that day. Actually, you probably should not plan on leaving your house Friday, Saturday, or Sunday. Here is where the ice threat is most severe right now. And listen carefully because this affects tens of millions of people. The bullseye. The absolute worst zone for ice. Interstate 35 corridor near Dallas-Fort Worth. Then northeast along Interstate 30 and Interstate 40 into Little Rock, Memphis, and Nashville. We are forecasting ice accumulation over 1 inch in these areas. Trees will come down, power will go out, and it could stay out for days. But wait, here is a twist nobody saw coming until this morning. Asheville, North Carolina. You are now in serious trouble. The mountains create their own problems with ice storms. You have more trees, more hills, more infrastructure strung up through difficult terrain. Even half an inch of ice in your area brings down vegetation onto power lines. Mass outages are coming, and do not think you are safe if you are slightly outside these zones. Ice storms do not follow clean boundaries. There will be pockets and bands where ice accumulation surprises everyone. If you see any pink shading on the ice maps, you need to prepare. Now let me tell you about the snow, because while everyone is focused on ice, there is an absolutely monster snowstorm buried inside this system. Oklahoma City to Wichita, Kansas. 8 to 12 inches of snow. Amarillo, Texas. 8 to 10 inches possible. These are not small numbers for these cities. This is crippling. Infrastructure shutting down snow. But here is where it gets wild. There is going to be a connecting band of heavy snow. The models have not fully figured out where yet, but somewhere between eastern Oklahoma, southern Missouri, and into the mid-south, there is going to be a narrow corridor that gets absolutely hammered. 12 to 18 inches of snow, maybe more. This band could include St. Louis. It could include Springfield, Missouri. It could include Jonesboro, Arkansas. We just do not know exactly where it sets up yet. But by tomorrow morning, we will have better clarity. That is why you need to check back for updates. And here is something that is breaking my heart to tell people in Nashville. Yesterday, we were forecasting over a foot of snow for you. Today, that warm air is creeping farther north. You are now looking at more of a mixed precipitation event. Heavy ice, some snow, but nowhere near the snow totals we thought 24 hours ago. 5 to 8 inches of snow possible, but ice is your bigger problem now. Things could shift back tomorrow. We are still 3 to 4 days out. But right now, Nashville, Clarksville, you need to prepare for a mess. Ice on top of snow. Impassable roads. Power outages likely. Lexington, Kentucky. You are still looking solid for around 12 inches of snow. Cincinnati, 8 to 10 inches. These totals are holding steady. But now, let me blow your mind with what is about to happen on the East Coast. Richmond, Virginia, up through Washington, D.C., Philadelphia, New York City, and Boston. We are forecasting 12 to 18 inches of snow, maybe more in some spots. This is a historic snowstorm for the Interstate 95 corridor. Baltimore to New York especially. This could be a legendary snow event, the kind you tell your grandchildren about. 1.5 feet of snow shutting down the entire northeastern megalopolis. Now, the models are showing a pretty massive area of high snow totals from Richmond all the way back to Williamsport, Pennsylvania. I am not completely sold on that yet. I think the heaviest snow corridor is going to be a bit tighter, closer to the coast, but if those interior areas do get hammered like the models show, we will definitely let you know. Here is something else. After the initial storm moves through, a coastal low is going to develop and ride up the eastern seaboard. That is going to amplify snow totals for New England. Boston, you could end up with some impressive numbers before this is all said and done. Quick check. Have you commented your location yet? Do it right now so I can give you more specific information as we go. Seriously, just drop your city or state in the comments. I am reading them. Now let me address the Carolinas because I know we have a lot of viewers there. Charlotte, Raleigh, Greensboro. I have bad news. The big snow event is probably not going to happen for you. The models are now showing ice is your main threat. Raleigh to Greensboro, maybe 2 to 4 inches of snow. Just north of Winston-Salem, a few spots could see 6 inches. But your biggest problem, like I said, is ice. The same destructive freezing rain that is going to plague Tennessee and Arkansas. And remember, even though you are farther south and these events are rarer for you, that makes it worse. Because your infrastructure is not built for this. Your utility companies do not have hundreds of line crews on standby. Your road departments do not have fleets of salt trucks. When you get hit with a major ice storm, recovery takes longer. Let me talk about timing, because knowing when this hits is just as important as knowing what hits. Friday, January 23rd. This is when it starts. We already have an enhanced risk of winter storm from Oklahoma City to Little Rock on Friday. That is day 1. Get your preparations done by Friday morning at the latest. Saturday, January 24th. This is the big day. This is when the most people get impacted. I do not care if you normally ignore weather forecasts. I do not care if you think meteorologists always hype these things up. You will care on Saturday. Mark my words. Saturday is when this thing goes full beast mode. The enhanced risk area is going to shift north on the next update. I will show you that tomorrow morning. But Saturday is when power starts going out. Saturday is when roads become undrivable. Saturday is when the reality of this storm hits. Sunday, January 25th. The storm is still cranking. The East Coast gets hammered. Heavy snow from Richmond to Boston. We have a Day 5 enhanced risk already posted for that entire corridor. But here is the part everyone keeps missing. Here is the part that makes this truly historic. It is not just the storm. It is what comes after. Remember that Arctic high pressure I mentioned? That bulldozer of cold air? It is not leaving. After this storm passes, temperatures are going to plummet, and they are going to stay down. We are talking about the coldest air in over a decade for many locations. And it is not a quick shot. This is sustained, prolonged, deep freeze cold. Some places in the south might not get back above freezing for several days. Think about that. If you are in Memphis and you lose power Saturday, and temperatures do not go above 32 degrees until Wednesday or Thursday, you are looking at nearly a week in a freezing house with no electricity. This is why preparation is so critical right now. Not tomorrow, not Friday morning, right now. Here is your preparation checklist. And I am going to be very specific because generic advice does not help anyone. Water. You need 1 gallon per person per day. If there are 4 people in your house and you might be without power for 5 days, that is 20 gallons of water. Yes, 20 gallons. Get it now. Food that does not require cooking. If your power goes out and it is 20 degrees outside, you are not grilling hamburgers in the backyard. Canned goods, protein bars, peanut butter, crackers, food that is calorie-dense and requires zero preparation. Batteries and flashlights. Do not rely on your phone flashlight. Your phone battery is precious. Get real flashlights and fresh batteries. Battery bank for phones. Charge it fully now. A 20,000 milliamp hour battery bank can charge your phone 4 or 5 times. That could be the difference between calling for help or being completely cut off. Medications. If you take prescription medications, make sure you have enough to last at least 7 days beyond your normal refill. Heat source. If you have a fireplace, stock up on wood now. If you have a generator, test it today. Make sure you have fuel. And for the love of everything, know how to run it safely. Generators inside garages kill people every single winter. Important documents. If things get really bad and you need to evacuate, grab your important papers. Insurance documents, identification, medical records. Have them in one place. Cash. If power is out, credit card machines do not work. ATMs do not work. Have actual physical cash on hand. Full tank of gas in your vehicle. Right now, do not wait. If you need to leave suddenly or if you need to run your car for heat, you want a full tank. Here is something else nobody is talking about yet. Supply chains. Once this storm hits and roads are impassable across multiple states, resupply becomes a nightmare. Grocery stores in affected areas might not get deliveries for days. Gas stations might run out of fuel. Pharmacies might not get restocked. The time to prepare is before everyone else realizes they need to prepare. And that window is closing fast. Let me give you the snowfall forecast numbers one more time because these are crucial. Amarillo, 8 to 10 inches. Wichita area, 8 to 12 inches. That connecting band through Missouri and Arkansas, 12 plus inches in a narrow corridor. Bentonville, Arkansas, around 8 inches. St. Louis, uncertain but could be significant. Nashville, 5 to 8 inches with heavy ice. Lexington, 12 inches. Cincinnati, 8 to 10 inches. Pittsburgh, 10 inches. The East Coast. This is where it gets serious. Richmond, over 12 inches. Washington, D.C., 12 to 18 inches. Philadelphia, 12 to 18 inches. New York City, 12 to 18 inches. Boston, 12 plus inches with potential for more depending on the coastal low. These are not just numbers. Each inch of snow represents massive disruption. School closures, business closures, transportation shutdowns. And when you combine snow with ice, the impacts multiply. Now here is something fascinating that tells you how rare this setup is. The Weather Prediction Center does not throw around ice accumulation warnings lightly. These are conservative, by the book, meteorologists. When they explicitly warn about ice over 1 inch in some spots, you know it is real. They are not in the business of hype. They are in the business of accurate, careful forecasting. And they are sounding the alarm. I mentioned this earlier, but it bears repeating. Interstate travel through Arkansas and Tennessee on Friday or Saturday is a terrible idea. Roads will be impassable. Not difficult, not slow. Impassable. We are going to see jackknifed trucks blocking highways. We are going to see hundreds of cars stuck and abandoned. Emergency services will be overwhelmed. If you get stranded on a highway in an ice storm with temperatures in the 20s, you are in serious danger. Here's a plot twist for you. There is already another storm signal showing up behind this one. I am not going to talk about it in detail yet because we need to deal with one disaster at a time. But this cold pattern we are locked into, it is not a one-and-done situation. This is a sustained, active winter pattern. After this historic storm passes, there is another significant system showing up in the long-range models. What does that mean? It means this is not an isolated event. This is the beginning of a potentially relentless winter stretch, the kind of pattern that defines an entire season. Let me talk about what happens during extended power outages in winter because I want you to really understand the risks. Hour 1 to 6. It is annoying but manageable. Your house still has residual heat. Your refrigerator is still cold. You are figuring out flashlights and candles. Hour 6 to 12. Your house is getting noticeably colder. If it is 20 degrees outside, your indoor temperature is dropping fast. You are starting to layer up. You are moving everyone to one room to conserve body heat. Hour 12 to 24. Now it is serious. Your pipes might start freezing. Your indoor temperature might be in the 40s or low 50s depending on your home's insulation. Food in your refrigerator is at risk. You are burning through your emergency supplies. Day 2 to 3. If you are not prepared, this is where it gets dangerous. Hypothermia becomes a real risk, especially for elderly people and young children. Frozen pipes can burst, causing thousands of dollars in damage. Your phone battery is dying, and you are cut off from communication. Day 4 to 7. This is crisis level. People start making desperate decisions. Running generators inside garages. Burning furniture for heat. These are the situations that lead to carbon monoxide poisoning and house fires. I am not trying to scare you. I am trying to prepare you. Because if you understand the timeline, you understand why preparation today matters so much. Here is what you need to know about ice storm recovery. It is slow. Brutally slow. When hundreds of power lines come down across multiple states, utility companies are overwhelmed. They have to bring in crews from other states. But those crews also cannot get there if the roads are impassable. So you have this vicious cycle. Roads are blocked because of ice and downed trees and power lines. Utility crews cannot get through to fix the power lines. Without power, you cannot heat buildings to shelter people. It becomes a cascading crisis. Some of the worst ice storms in American history left people without power for 2 weeks. 2 weeks! In January, with temperatures in the teens and 20s. That is not just inconvenient. That is life-threatening. Memphis, Little Rock, Nashville, Asheville. You are in the bullseye. I cannot stress this enough. Multiple days without power is not a worst-case scenario. It is a likely scenario. Plan accordingly. One more thing about the cold air behind this storm. When I say coldest in a decade, here is what that means for specific cities. Dallas could see overnight lows in the single digits. Memphis might drop to near zero. Nashville, same thing. These are temperatures these cities are not equipped to handle. Homeless populations are at extreme risk. Elderly people without adequate heat are at risk. This is serious. The North Carolina mountains? You could see overnight lows below zero. Below zero. When was the last time Asheville saw temperatures below zero? It has been years. Maybe over a decade. Your infrastructure is not built for this. And again, it is not one cold night. This cold air mass parks over the eastern half of the country and it just sits there. Day after day of brutally cold temperatures. Even if your power stays on, your heating bill next month is going to be shocking. Have you commented where you live yet? Because I want to make sure you are getting the specific information you need. Drop your city or state right now. Let me address some of the model uncertainty because I want you to understand how forecasting works at this range. We are 3 to 4 days out from the main event. That is actually pretty good forecast range for winter storms, but there is still room for things to shift. Yesterday, this storm was tracking 150 miles farther south. Today it shifted north. Could it shift back south tomorrow? Maybe. Could it shift even farther north? Maybe. That is why you need to check for updates daily. But here is the important part. Even with uncertainty about exact track, the overall threat is clear. Catastrophic ice storm for parts of the south and mid-south. Historic snowstorm for parts of the east coast. Brutal cold outbreak following behind. Those elements are locked in. The exact details of who gets what are still being refined. When meteorologists say take a storm seriously, even though we are still a few days out, this is what we mean. The big picture threat is certain. The fine details are still uncertain, but you prepare for the big picture threat now. You do not wait until the fine details are resolved because by then it is too late. Think about it this way. If you live in Dallas and the forecast says you might get 1 to 3 inches of snow or you might get a catastrophic ice storm, which do you prepare for? You prepare for the ice storm because if it ends up being just snow, great. You are over-prepared. But if it is the ice storm and you did not prepare, you are in serious trouble. Here is something else to consider. Storm fatigue is real. We have had a lot of weather hype over the past few years. Storms that were supposed to be historic turned out to be disappointing. So people get skeptical. They hear another big forecast and they think, yeah, sure, we will see. I get it. But this is not one of those times. Every single major forecast model is screaming danger. The pattern setup is textbook for a historic winter storm. The cold air is real. The moisture is real. The dynamics are real. This is the one where you do not gamble. This is the one where you take it seriously. Friday at 10 a.m. Heavy snow will be pounding southwest Missouri. Heavy ice will be accumulating in the Red River Valley and toward Little Rock. Dallas will be on that knife edge between rain, snow, and freezing rain. And it all goes downhill from there. By Sunday morning at 4 a.m., the ice swath extends all the way into Tennessee, Kentucky, North Carolina, South Carolina. The heavy snow band sets up over the Ohio River Valley and starts pushing into the mid-Atlantic and Northeast. We could literally see rain making it all the way up into Kentucky, where just yesterday we were forecasting all snow. That warm nose is creeping north. That is how dynamic this situation is. The coastal low development on Sunday is going to be crucial for New England snow totals. If that low really cranks, Boston and Portland could see 2 feet of snow. If it stays weaker or tracks differently, totals could be less. But either way, significant snow is coming. I am going to be doing 2 videos a day to keep you updated. Tomorrow morning, I will have the latest model runs and any shifts in the forecast. Tomorrow evening, I will have more refined timing and impact information. Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, I will likely go live to give you real-time updates as this storm unfolds. You need to subscribe and turn on notifications so you do not miss these critical updates. Here is your action plan for tonight. Right now, before you go to bed, check your emergency supplies. Do you have everything on that list I gave you earlier? If not, make a shopping list. First thing tomorrow morning, go get your supplies. Do not wait until Thursday. Do not wait until Friday. The stores will be chaos by Thursday afternoon. Fill up your gas tank tomorrow. Charge all your devices fully tomorrow night. Friday morning, bring in any outdoor furniture or items that could become projectiles in high wind. Yes, there will be wind with this storm. Friday afternoon, consider filling your bathtub with water. If pipes freeze or power goes out, that is your emergency water supply. Saturday, do not go anywhere unless it is absolutely life or death. Stay home. Stay safe. And here is the thing nobody wants to hear, but I am going to say it anyway. If you are in one of the highest risk areas and you have the option to leave before this hits, seriously consider it. If you can go stay with family in an area that is not getting hit, do it. Get out Thursday. Do not wait until Friday. I know that sounds extreme. But when you are talking about potentially 7 days without power and below freezing temperatures, leaving is not an overreaction. It is a smart decision, especially if you have young children or elderly family members. Especially if you have medical needs that require power. Especially if you live in a rural area where emergency services will take longer to reach you. There is no shame in evacuating before a winter storm. In fact, it is the smart play. For everyone who is staying, make sure your neighbors are prepared too. Check on elderly neighbors. Make sure they have supplies and a plan. Check on people who live alone. Winter storms are community events. We get through them by helping each other. Here is what I need you to understand as we wrap this up. This storm is historic. Not hype, not exaggeration, historic. The combination of ice, snow, and extreme cold over such a large area is something we have not seen in over a decade. Tens of millions of people are going to be impacted. Power outages will be widespread and prolonged. Travel will be impossible in many areas. The cold that follows will be relentless. But if you prepare now, if you take this seriously, if you make smart decisions, you will get through this safely. Comment below where you are watching from. I want to know who is in the impact zones. I want to make sure you are getting the information you need. Tomorrow morning, I will have a full update with the latest model runs. We will talk about any shifts in the forecast. We will refine the snow and ice totals. We will nail down timing even more precisely. Tomorrow evening, another update. And then we go live Friday as this thing starts to unfold. This is going to be a wild week. This is going to be a historic week. But we are going to get through it together. One more thing before I let you go. After this storm passes and we are dealing with that brutal cold, there is another system already showing up in the long-range models. I am not going to give you details yet because we have enough to worry about with this one. But just know, this winter pattern is locked and loaded. This is not the end. This might just be the beginning of a very active rest of winter. So stay tuned, stay prepared, stay safe, and I will see you in tomorrow morning's update where we are going to dive even deeper into this unfolding situation. Comment your location right now. Tell me where you are, and make sure you are subscribed because the next few days are going to be critical. We are tracking a historic winter storm, and you need to be ready.